Cześć, tutaj Moni and welcome to Learn Polish with Advance. Today I'm going to do the overview of the locative case of what we've learned so far, although I still owe you one video on locative with this endings when it comes to nouns with these endings. So I'm going to do it after I introduce the dative case. So just one more to come. And today we are going to look at the endings for adjectives in a locative case and nouns as well, although I'm not going to focus on nouns as it is quite complex. If you want to revise, you can look at the separate videos I recorded when it comes to locative case and the nouns in this case in particular. So let's look at the endings for locative. Adjective endings in locative. We've got the same endings as you can see for masculine and neuter nouns. So we've got or im after k and g, and if you studied pretty well, you will remember that these are the same endings for instrumental case as well, right? You may recognize these endings as they appear in the same form in the instrumental case. And the ending for feminine nouns is a. So let's look at the word kobieta, a woman. In locative case, when it comes to nouns, we need to look at many things. We need to look at the gender of the noun, but also the consonant, the last consonant as in a word, as this will cause alternation. So this is really important to consider two things: the gender of the noun and also the consonant. What is the last consonant after I take the or drop off the last vowel? Because this will be really important, what rule you will have to apply in order to change that noun in the proper case, in a proper form, right? So we know it's locative, but which ending is it? Is it e or is it u? So that will be determined by the gender and also by the consonant. So once you know what are the endings for adjectives, which is im, right? That's masculine and neuter, and a for feminine, then you can start looking at changing the noun and creating the whole sentence. So let's say we want to say, I'm thinking about an elderly or old woman, right? Kobieta in Polish, right? Kobieta, woman. Let's look at this noun. We've got the, after we drop a, we've got the t consonant. So this is our bulk of consonants in question. We know that this group, right, causes alternation, but the ending is e, and this group is also these endings are shared between masculine, feminine, and neuter nouns. So kobieta in locative becomes kobiecie, kobiecie. Masculine noun, let's say brat, will become bracie. So these endings are shared regardless of the gender, but you need to know this. You need to know which consonants will have that ending, right? So kobieta becomes kobiecie, so you know that already, and then stara becomes starej. So I'm thinking about or I'm thinking of would be myślę o, and then you've got starej, drop of the a, add a, starej kobiecie. And you've got a perfect sentence, perfect grammatical sentence there. Sentence in locative, right? Adjective and noun is in locative. Myślę o starej kobiecie. Let's look, as we are in feminine noun group, let's look at the word Polska. Polska, which is Poland. This consonant k is in a group of k, g, h, which alternates to c. So when you think about Poland, you would say myślę o Polsce. And then if you wanted to add an adjective to it, for instance, we don't really have, let me add one actually. Here it is, beautiful. I'm thinking about beautiful Poland. You would say myślę o pięknej Polsce, wouldn't you? Because you would have to change that k into c. That's the group in question. And just a reminder, remember that this group is not shared like this group between masculine, feminine, and noun. So after these three consonants in masculine and neuter nouns, we will have the ending u, but in this group, feminine group, we will have the ending e with alternation. So it's not the same as this group, right? So if we wanted to say, I'm thinking about an old granddad, right? Elderly granddad, let's say. So stary, we would have to, let me actually add it so it doesn't really, yeah, let's just add stary here. Here we are. So stary, dziadek is grandpa or grandfather, so grandpa or grandfather. So we would say myślę o starym. We don't need another y, it's just the ending im, but as we already have epsilon here, we just need to add m in fact, and that's it. So starym, and then do you remember what happens with the nouns that have the ending ek? They have the reduction there with this when it comes to that vowel e. So dziadku, right? So myślę o starym dziadku. So that's the example when the K letter in this group is followed by u for masculine nouns, but letter K for feminine nouns alternates to ц, and then we've got the e ending, right? So let's look at mleko. It's exactly the same when it comes to masculine nouns. We've got o ending, so we drop off the last vowel. Mleku, that group is shared between masculine and neuter nouns. So the ending u applies to masculine and neuter. So if you thinking about sweet milk, you would say myślę o słodkim. Right, we already have the e here, so we don't need that. These are the endings, but we already have I here, so just drop e, add m, and we've got słodkim mleko, right? So that's the example for the neuter noun. Let's look at another noun and another adjective. So we've got actor, for instance. If you are thinking about the young actor, młody aktor, that's the group of the nouns that we would have the r ending. So ending would be e, as this is shared, right? But alternation will be different. So r becomes re, right? So let's look at it. Aktor, aktorze. As I mentioned, this group is shared. So let's find another one. Góra, a mountain. Góra, górze, right? Couldn't find any for the neuter, but that would be the same principle really as masculine, as they are shared. So aktor, góra, right? So look, these are this is the masculine noun, here is the feminine noun, but the ending is shared. So górze, aktorze, but the adjectives are different. So myślę o młodym aktorze. I'm thinking about the young actor, and then I'm thinking about a beautiful mountain. Myślę o pięknej, right? That's the ending for feminine, górze, right? So pięknej górze. Okay, so let's look at another example. So here we are. We've got kobieta. We already mentioned I already mentioned kobieta. So let's look at kosz. Kosz is here in this group, as you can see, is as that here. Kosz, a bin, dustbin. So kosz. Something is in a bin. You would say coś jest in w, and then koszu, because this group for masculine nouns have the ending u. Coś jest w koszu. But as this group is not shared like this one, we will have a different ending for feminine nouns. These consonants will cause the ending in feminine nouns. So here, for instance, we are, although it's not as that, it's the same group, right? We've got róża here, a rose. So myślę o, I'm thinking about a rose, myślę o róży, right? Here we've got u, but here we've got so let's think about a beautiful rose. We would say myślę o pięknej róży, right? But if something is in an old bin, you would say coś jest w starym koszu, right? And the same, as you can see, the RZ, the same thing, ending U, żołnierz is a soldier. So if you're thinking about a nice soldier, myślę o miłym żołnierzu, right? But RZ from the same group for feminine noun will have the ending epsilon. So myślę o burzy. I'm thinking about a storm, about a beautiful storm. Again, don't think about the logic of these sentences. It's just purely for the grammatical purposes, okay? So I'm thinking about a beautiful storm. Myślę o pięknej burzy, okay? O pięknej burzy. There will be some cases when we will have a triple alternation. Gwieździe, mieście. Do you remember? There was one video I recorded with mieście, gwieździe, cieście, right? A city or a town, a star, a cake. So you may remember those nouns that have triple alternation there. Gwiazda alternates to gwieździe. So if you are thinking about a beautiful star, you would have you would say myślę o pięknej gwieździe. And the ending is from this group, yeah, so the ending is a, right? However, the alternation is not just one that appears, that happens for that noun, but we've got 3 alternations here. Okay, so let's look at maybe at some best friends cases. Let me type a word. We have here kawa. Kawa, a coffee. If you are thinking about a good coffee and you would like to drink it, you would say myślę o dobrej, and then you would say kawie. This group, best friends, is shared between masculine and feminine and noun. The ending is however, we've got a little softening there, so ie, kawie, right? So myślę o dobrej kawie. But if you if you wanted to say, for instance, let's have I got no? Let me type one noun for masculine. Here we are. Businessman could be a good example. Businessman ends with an N. So if you wanted to say I'm thinking about an ambitious businessman that I'm going to have a meeting with, you would say myślę o ambitnym biznesmenie. So best friends, yes, best friends must not pick skin with zits, remember? That's a good mnemonic. The ending is yeah, right? So with a softening yeah. Okay, so the same goes for okno. If we drop o, you've got the ending n. If something is on the window, coś jest na oknie, right? So na oknie. If something is on a small window, na małym, it's not the letter k, so we don't have to soften it even more. Małym oknie. Coś jest na małym oknie. O, kot jest na małym oknie. There's a cat in a small window. So oknie, biznesmenie, kawie, right? So that's the group where the noun endings are shared, right? So you don't really have to worry too much about it. So let's look at this group as the last one. Cebula, let's start from the onion. Let's say you chop the onion and something is inside it, right? You don't know what it is. So something is inside it. You want to say that something is inside the onion. Coś jest w, and then cebuli. Why? Because this group causes the ending I, right? Do you remember? That's the specific group, cebuli. And also that's the group when our accent becomes an I, right? Kość, kości, zazdrość, zazdrości, miłość, miłości, right? So there are a lot of feminine nouns in Polish that end with S accent, C accent, like bone, a bone, kość, or love, miłość. Although they end with a consonant, they are feminine, and then our accent above C becomes the I, kości, miłości. So if a dog thinks about a good bone or big bone to eat, it thinks, pies myśli o dobrej kości, o dobrej kości. But as this group is not shared, there will be a different ending for masculine and neuter noun. So there is a bird sitting on a horse. If we wanted to say there's a bird sitting on a horse, koń is a horse in Polish. So koniu, we've got the ending u, but our spelling rules tells us to take the accent above n and change it into I. So koniu. Na koniu siedzi ptak, or jest ptak na koniu, right? So you can see that this group has a different ending for masculine and also for a neuter noun, right? There won't be many for this group. We are mainly talking here really about the masculine and feminine nouns. These are quite well behaved, I've got to say. So there is another group of neuter nouns and also feminine nouns that will have these kind of S, another consonant group inside, like masło, butter. Maśle will be the ending and alternation, but I highlighted it in red, and I will create another video after the dative lesson where I will explain that in full. I think you've got absolutely enough now of locative. Yes, so when it comes to summarize, when it comes to adjectives and nouns in locative, adjectives for masculine and noun are the same. They are im, they have the ending im, either im or im, right? But different ending when it comes to nouns, and you need to investigate a little bit more, looking at the consonants that the word ends with. So it's not as easy. It's not just the one consonant in locative for masculine, feminine, and neuter. So I would recommend going back to locative videos just brush up a little bit more if you find it confusing. This is not really a very difficult case, a grammatical case to learn. It could be fun and it could be very enjoyable when you think about investigating the endings. What is the ending for this particular noun? So don't think about this as something very, very challenging, but I can assure you that the more you do, the more you become familiar with it. Anyway, thank you very much for your support. I would like to welcome new patrons on my Patreon website. I'm not sure if I pronounce it correctly, but I would like to welcome Jean-Francois and Stuart. Thank you very much for your support. And Dave, thank you very much for messaging me as well. I hope you are going to enjoy materials that I create there on Patreon website. The more Patreons join in, the more active I am. So thank you. Thank you so much for your support, and soon more content on Patreon and a new lesson on dative, this time for idą, especially for idą. Thank you very much. Dziękuję. Bye.